Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Getrude Matshe here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. As you know, we are on a mission to connect 1 million women through the power of our stories. We're looking for women who are in business, women who talk about health and wellness, creativity, spirituality, social justice. And my interview subject today is all of that wrapped in one. Welcome to our tribe. Tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hi guys, my name is Crystal Starr. I am here in Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I'm here in my home studio, as you can see, some of the fun things, the guitar and everything. And I'm extremely happy to be here with you guys today to tell you my story. So I grew up in a small town called Walnut, California, by way of La Puente, California. With two loving parents, my mom and dad, and my two other sisters, Adrian and Tammy. And, I grew up pretty loved, sheltered. And I think my life wasn't really perfect, but it was enough when I had love in my household. So, just growing up, we had a very musical home. My dad used to sing with some pretty amazing acts, Jackie Wilson back in the day, and he used to tour with a gospel group. And then he moved to California from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And when my mom was 10 years old, she was from the Bronx, and she moved here to California with my grandparents. And just my background is Puerto Rican and Black. My mom's Puerto Rican, my dad is Black. And so in our household, we had all different types of music, from like the Temptations, Prince, to salsa. I woke up every single morning in my grandmother's house, her listening to Celia Cruz and Gloria Estefan and all different types of stuff like that. And in my dad's house, he listened to Prince, all that kind of thing. So that was kind of my background. So I think by the age of 12, I had some crazy stuff happen to me. Well, not necessarily to me, but to my mom. She was kidnapped by her ex, and I was the one who answered the phone, and when she was trying to get away. And I feel like that was a part of my life that shifted my life, really to life is real sometimes. But it also taught me how to be strong in those traumatic moments. And everything that happened to me growing up, it really made me a better person, who I am today, and have a lot of empathy and grace for people that are going through things, which is why now I use my story for impacting the world and trying to impact and impact kids. So as I grew up, I went to college and studied jazz music, and got a chance to really do some pretty amazing things and sing background for amazing artists. I got a degree in jazz, and then I went on tour with Heather Headley, Jessica Simpson, Ariana Grande. I've sung background for Kanye West and Stevie Wonder, a bunch of different artists. And then got a chance to star on Broadway as a Sherelle. As many of you guys probably know the songs. Mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this. So that's the kind of stuff that they used to do. So I got a chance to star on Broadway as a Sherelle. And it was life-changing because I got to see what that world was like. And growing up in my household, my mom is very bright, as I can say. She was very fun. She is very fun. So I got to explore Broadway and doing all those things. So after I got off of Broadway and after I graduated from high school, my neighbor used to take care of kids in foster care. And a lot of the times the kids would come over to my house, and just to kind of get away and come play all the musical instruments in my house. And I wasn't really a serious kid, so I like to have a lot of fun and just laugh and sing. And so the kids wanted to always come over and do those kind of things at my house. So I started to notice as they would come over and spend some time with me, and or I would take them to my rehearsals or stuff, that it really changed their life being in a different environment that they were used to. So um, it was this one moment when this boy named Josh came over, and he wanted to wait with me. He asked me if I could wait with him outside for his mom to come, um, while the other kids next door went to Disneyland. So they all went to Disneyland, and he didn't want to go. He wanted to wait for his mom. So his mom was supposed to show up at 2 o'clock. And I sat there with the grass on the grass with him, and 2 o'clock came, and then 2:30 came, 3:30 came, 4:30 came, and his mom never showed up. So it was at that time that I realized, you know, the kind of disappointment that kids in foster care go through. And it could be little disappointments to big disappointments, and being ripped out of their house, seeing the things that they saw, like I experienced growing up, but I also had loving parents, um, who were there for me and supported me. I wanted to be that support for them. And the only way that I knew how to do that was by using my gift of music. So what I ended up doing was starting a nonprofit called Little Voices, and just started doing concerts. I got off of Broadway September 9th. And then by December 22nd, we had our very first concert. We had 300 kids. I had 2 weeks actually to put this together. And I met with the producer, and I told him what my vision was. And I wanted to fill this room with kids and give them Christmas gifts and all this kind of stuff. And it was kind of discouraging at that moment, because he was like, well, do you have a concert hall? Do you have artists? Do you have, artists? Do you even have kids? And I didn't at that moment. And he said, don't do it this year. Don't even think about doing it this year. Like, you don't have anything together. So as I walked away from that meeting, I said I would never allow anybody to tell me that I can't do something. So within 2 weeks, I had a theater. I got donated the biggest Christmas tree with me and my friend from CAA. It was the tallest Christmas tree that you've ever imagined. I had 5 major acts that came and performed. I had 2 choirs. We had a 17-piece all-women orchestra headed by Noriko Oling. We had, what else do we have? We had a drum line from Compton Middle School. And we had 300 kids attend the concert, 2 of which were adopted that evening. And it was at that moment that I knew that my purpose was to be a bigger voice for kids in foster care and in the inner city. And that was in 2011. And to this date, we have impacted over 1 million kids in foster care and inner city youth. And it's been one of the greatest experiences that I've ever experienced in my life. Anytime that I do something, I try to include kids. I try to include some foster kids in my productions, or foster kids in my shows, or invite them for free of charge to come attend the concert and come backstage. So we also have another program that's called She Sessions. So the first concert was called the Crystal Star Christmas. By the way, we gave out about 300 gifts for Christmas to the kids that year. And then we moved on to doing a show called She Sessions, where we impact girls in foster care. We bring them, we bust them in, and we tell them that they're enough. They have 3 programs that they go to prior to the show, attending the concert. We invite 4 Billboard top charting artists to come and perform for them. I also perform for them as well. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So those are some of the things that if I can do something, which is just using my gift, that's what I do. So now I'm out with this is my second album that I'm putting out, and it's called Pop Star. And I've worked with some pretty amazing producers, sorry, some pretty amazing producers on this project. I'm really excited about it because during the pandemic, I wanted to really truly find me. I really wanted to find who I was inside of music and not be afraid to really explore that side of me without the pressure of someone else's voice telling me who I was or what I should sing or how I should sing a song. So I started exploring production, and then I did, collabed with Keith Harris or Renard Hughes. Keith Harris is with the Black Eyed Peas, and then also Biscuit and Butter. They're artists and producers as well, Grammy-nominated artists and everything. And so this album is one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite albums to this date. And we just put out a song called Head Over Heels, which I wrote based off of the love that my grandparents had, and just an everlasting love rather than a love that doesn't prevail or is for a certain amount of time. It's basically a lifetime full of love. And I think our society needs a little bit more love nowadays. So yeah. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to put out another single called, I don't know if I can share that yet, but anyway, we're going to put out another single in a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah, that's me.
Wow, Crystal, what an amazing, amazing story you've had.
Thank you.
You know, I'm always inspired when I meet people who realize the power of giving. So I've got a few questions to ask you around what giving has done for you. First question is, what changed your life when someone gave to you?
It made me feel a love that it's undescribable, if that makes any sense.
Can you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, let me think about that for a second. I really feel like somebody that gave me something, I think it really is just my parents. I think that the type of love that my parents give me, the type of support that they give me, and the type of support that I receive from my husband is kind of indescribable. Like I can't describe it. It's having support from your family as well as your husband is undescribable. I think even when you make a mistake and they support you and they love you through that mistake is pretty intense. And I think I can say, oh yeah, I can get material things or anything, but those kind of things fade away. But support and love from people who you love and admire is the biggest thing that I've been given.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing what can happen to a child, to a young person, if they're in the right environment. And I can see why you have this passion around these kids who are in foster care, because that's really the missing piece for them. You can have all the material things in life, but unless you have family, you have people who support you and love you unconditionally, you can only go so far in life. So you had an amazing starting point there. So my next question is, what changed your life when you gave to someone else?
What changed my life when I gave to someone else? I would say Little Voices has changed my life. Whenever we do any of these concert programmings or I go and speak at these high schools in the inner city, more than impacting them, it impacts anybody who's with us. I think we all kind of walk away crying because just knowing that when you give your time, how much impact that is on a child. I would say there was this time when, because we go and visit a lot of the boys and girls homes a lot and do a session called listening session where we just talk to them and we listen to them and tell our stories, that every time we come on that campus to have the kids literally run up to us and said, thank you for coming back. Thank you for coming back. It touches your heart like you can't even imagine. Like, you feel like you have all these kids, like you're responsible for these kids. And it gives back to me more than I feel like I give back to them. It's changed my life completely, for sure.
That's a really interesting observation. When I started working with orphaned children, I was in Bali in Indonesia. I
Hmm.
had gone to visit an orphanage, and I was a keynote speaker at a conference. So I went and spent the whole day there. I got there a day before. I was playing with the kids. We did a tie-dye workshop on the stretch of lawn. They had about 100 children. And I fell in love with a little boy. He was 3 years old. He was the youngest in this orphanage. So I thought, his birthday was at the end of the week. And before I left the country, I went and bought him a little bicycle and some gifts and decided to go and have a little birthday party with him. So I get to the orphanage in the morning, and this little guy is going to school. They didn't know I was coming back. He had his little backpack, and he saw me in the taxi, and he started screaming hysterically. And he
Oh.
came and opened the door, grabbed my wrist, and dragged me to the principal's office. He made
Oh.
me sit down, and he sat on my lap, and he kept
Oh.
touching my face and
Oh.
asking this question in Indonesian, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. And the nuns who ran the orphanage said, "Gertrude, he's asking if you're real." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said
Oh.
that we get a lot of visitors who come to this orphanage, but nobody has ever come back in the same week. And that's
Oh.
what you're talking about. And a lot of people who give need to remember that don't do it as a one-off thing.
Yes.
Keep going back. These kids need to see some consistency in their lives.
Yes.
Most of them have already lost their parents, and
Hmm.
you just go there on a one-off and you don't come back.
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing about giving, and especially when you're dealing with young children. So thank you for bringing that up. That totally changed my life in terms of
Absolutely.
how I work with children who are in orphanages. So why is giving so important for the future of humanity, do you think?
I think that the more that we give, the more um, you become humble. It humbles yourself. And I think that a lot of our humanity needs to be humbled. Um, Regardless of whatever somebody did to you, or some mistake that somebody made, um, it shows you, what is the word? Uh, I forgot what the word is, but it shows you how to just become humble. Because I think when you give, you have to give without expectation. You have to strip everything of yourself. You have to want to give. And I think that's what people a lot of times forget about giving. Giving is about giving, and with no expectation behind it. And when you give without expectation, you'll see how your life is going to grow, how much your life is going to expand. Um, and just even with the people around you, you'll start seeing all the people that are around you who want to give as well, and you'll start receiving more than what you expected without expectation.
I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, my grandmother used to say that this universe is like a giant bank, and you have to keep depositing good deeds wherever you go. And it comes back tenfold, not from the people you help, but
Hmm.
through these weird little synchronistic happenings, or you meet the right person who's linked to something you're working on. That's another really good reminder in terms of the power of giving. So
Absolutely.
let's go now to your creativity and who you are as a musician and how you got started. Let's say there is a young person who's listening to this podcast interview right now,
Hmm.
and they know they've got a gift, but they're not sure where to start. If I could take you back to the younger you, and you could give yourself three nuggets of wisdom about being a musician, about putting yourself out there in the public eye as a performer, what three nuggets of wisdom would you give?
The three nuggets. The first one would be believe in yourself. It took me a very long time to believe in myself. I think I was always dependent on somebody else's opinion of whether I was good enough, or whether I could do it. And I would always try to surround myself with stronger people than I was because I didn't feel strong enough. So the first one I would say is believe in yourself, Crystal. The second one I would say is stick. I don't think I ever had the problem of sticking my guns to who I was, because I think a lot of people tried to tell me what I needed, how I needed to, or who I needed to be as an artist. But I would still say, stick to who you know you are. Never compromise who you are. I think that's what the number two is. And then number three was enjoy the climb. And never remember that the person that you're trying to pull on the coattails is trying to pull the coattails of someone else. So make your own lane and go for it, because at the same time, leaders are the people who make their own path. So become your own leader, and it's okay to be a strong young lady. It's okay to be a strong girl. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you know who you are, and if you believe in who you are, that you will always become a leader, no matter what.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having that strong belief in yourself is everything, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't know how, just believe that you will attract the people who will help get you there.
Yeah.
You have to take the
Absolutely.
first step. I love
Yeah.
that. Now, we're going to have another little thought experiment, and I'm now going to project you into the future.
Okay.
You're now 100 years old, and you're
How old am
sitting
I?
in your 100.
Oh, I'm 100. Okay.
With science and technology, I think you can live that long.
Okay.
And you are sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your grandchildren, your dogs, your cats, your husband, whoever is around you at that time. If you could have a conversation with the future you, this wise woman who's led you to that point, what would you say to her? I like asking this question because a lot of women don't realize that we do have all the knowledge we need to get to where we want to go. It's already hardwired into us.
Yeah.
And that's that belief little thing we were talking about. So, what would you say to the future you, this wise woman who has impacted on millions of children's lives, who has impacted on family, on friends, and has made a difference, and is going to leave the planet in a better place than it was before she came?
I would say thank you for never giving up, because a lot of people give up, and any path is hard. And a lot of people give up because it's hard and it's not easy. Doing anything is not easy. But I would say to the future me, thank you for never giving up, and job well done.
Fantastic. Yeah, I have a little thing that I do for myself when I get stuck sometimes, or when I start doubting myself. I go into my meditation and prayers before I sleep. And I can do something as simple as, what is our next step? I actually talk to the future me. And sometimes I will wake up and I know exactly what I need to do next, just a knowing who to call, what the next step is. Or I could be talking to somebody the next day and talking about the challenge I'm going through, and they will say something that links to the solution I'm looking for.
Right.
So we do have all of these answers in us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just have to believe it's there. You're never inspired to do something unless you've got the gifts to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
So why should anybody support your nonprofit, support your work with children in foster care?
I would say that I only want people to support Little Voices if you want to support kids in foster care. I think that if it's a passion of yours, and if it's something that you're looking to do, and to be with, like, surrounded by really good people who really actually care, then join us or donate. We really do. I'm on tour 24/7. I'm traveling, I'm working, but I make my priority whenever we have something for the kids to be there. Like right now, what we're doing is we're collecting backpacks and putting some arts and craft and for this one boys and girls home called Hillside in Pasadena, California. So I make it a priority to be there all the time, no matter what, to always represent for the kids. So I would say that if you have a passion for kids, or if you want to be um, involved with a nonprofit that's not like your ordinary nonprofit. I didn't start a nonprofit to be like everyone else. Like, I didn't want to be this corporate, perfect cookie cutter type of thing. I just wanted to help. And the best thing was to do was make sure all my paperwork was correct, making sure that we do everything the way that we're supposed to, like we were already doing. I just wanted to help. And so that's why I started a nonprofit. And I think that if you want to be involved with a nonprofit that's doing things different and that's giving everything back, we don't have a staff. It's just me and my board. So this was started. All of this was started on my savings. All of it. I given all of my savings to the kids. So there's nothing there that's like, oh, this is CEO that's taking all the money or anything. All the kids are getting everything. And so anytime you give, you're giving directly to a child when you give to Little Voices.
Oh, fantastic. So how can people get hold of you, Crystal? What is the best way for people to get in contact with you who want to contribute?
Yeah. So if you guys want to get a hold of me, you can visit me on my Instagram, which is down below, Crystal Star Music, or you can go to my website, crystalstar.com. This is with 2 R's. Or if you want more information about Little Voices, please visit littlevoices.me, M-E. So that's what Little Voices is. And I'll be sure to try to answer everyone as I can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming online today. Is there anything I should have asked you and I didn't?
There's nothing that you should have asked me, but I love your name, Her Story, because I have a song called She that I'd love for you to listen to. I think it'll impact you guys a lot. It's called She, and it's on YouTube if you want to take a look at that.
Oh, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I might just edit this video and add it to the end of this call, of this interview. That would be beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you
And
so much.
thank you to everybody who has tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is a movement of women who have a focus on social impact and social justice. We are out to change the world one story at a time, one woman at a time, one child at a time. When we launched, our focus was around women and children. Since COVID, we've extended it to the elderly, the homeless, and the disabled as well. So please follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. We're on all of the major social media platforms. Be inspired by these amazing stories. Take action, support at least one of the women who's coming forward. And if you have a passion for children, here's an amazing project that Crystal has started that you can plug right into as well. So have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Crystal, thank you again for this amazing interview. I'm really excited to have met you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Nice meeting you as well.
Love you. Bye for now, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow.
Bye.